Hi guys, welcome back to Beyond the Brand, the official podcast for NGM and MIMS. Today I am Varun. I'll be your host for this evening today. Today we have someone very special with us, Mr. Sachet Rao. Hi Sachet.
Hello. Thank you NGM for having me on campus. Feels so good to be back.
We're glad to have you here. And Sachet's journey is especially very interesting because it spans from both worlds, from structured FMCG brands like Pidilite, where he worked on rural and urban markets, to the high-paced startup ecosystem where speed, data, and moment marketing affects the decision making. He is currently a program manager at Blinkit. Sachet brings a very rare blend of on-ground execution and strategic thinking. And Sachet, welcome to the podcast. We are really looking forward for your insights.
Thank you. Thank you for that welcome. I mean, it's not so glorified like you put it, but I'll take it. So thank you. Thank you for NGM for having me over here.
We're glad. Sachet, why don't we start just by you telling a bit about yourself. How was MBA for you in general and how was the journey?
Okay. So in fact, like you started the statement of having, say, a structured FMCG and a fast-paced, quick commerce, non-structured environment. My MBA was also similar like that. I started when COVID was at its peak. I was a 2021 joinee for MBA when everything was online. I had an induction online and it was very weird for me to see an induction happening online. And come 2022, everything was offline. All the exams that we were giving were all offline. So good overall blend of online and offline, if I would have to put it in that way. MBA for me was very, very interesting because I had the opportunity to implement a lot of concepts fundamentally through a lot of internships. I had the privilege to do a lot of internships during my MBA. That was something that I really enjoyed. And essentially my MBA was very, very fast. I think everybody would agree to that statement that an MBA is very fast. So savor every moment because the real world is very, very bad. So I had a good experience overall, and it's just great to be back.
Yeah, that's very true. Like I still remember the first day that I stepped in, and it feels like literally yesterday.
Yes.
So I just follow up on your statement that you just said that you worked with brands like ITC, Britannia, Tata Consumers, and so how did you land that job? How did you land these roles? And what common gaps did you notice in the classroom marketing frameworks versus what was the on-ground strategic thinking that was happening real time?
Got it. So it's a very interesting question that you ask when you put it in the form of gaps, because what classroom gives you is building a base to fundamentals. What real world gives you is implementation of and execution of those fundamentals. So for me, I mean, my engineering background always made me want to do more of execution than just learning and being happy with the fact that, yeah, we know something. My idea was always about execution, to see actually who are people buying these brands, what are they buying it for, how do we influence these people, how does marketing change in a way, how does sales influence marketing, and how do they both go hand in hand with each other. So I really, if I have to put it into perspective, I started with going out with a salesman in my first year. I had taken a week off or something, and I had gone with a salesman on his bike to see how he sells cigarettes. And the fact that he deals with that kind of money just surprised me, and I said this is where actual business is, and that's what really broadened my perspective on how things work out. This is randomly I met one salesman down in my near the Ashok Vada Pav. He was selling cigarettes to one of the pawn shops over here. So I asked him, I was just very curious because I think it was a bit of recency bias also that came in. We were studying sales and channel management, and I just realized that this is a convenience outlet. Why not go and have a conversation with someone? So I went to him, I spoke to him, and he said, ek din hum hamare saath aa jao. I took his number, and as fate may have it, I ended up reaching out to his manager above, and I told him that I have done this proactively. And they said, okay, fine, let's put you onto a project and see what you can do in Mumbai itself. So I used to handle markets of Bandra, Juhu, Ville Parle, all of your premium markets over here through your general trade outlets. That is where I started, and really getting into insights on what sales is. Post that, it becomes an addiction because 2 months is not enough. You're just getting into the nick of things, and then suddenly 2 months gets over. Then you want more. You just keep wanting more. It's like an addiction. Okay, I saw this particular category. I saw cigarettes. Now, how do I see foods? How do I see e-commerce? How do I see the other categories? How do I develop my insights on channel? How do I get a well-rounded business administrator who can go and sell anything, or who can create strategy to sell? So that is how it really came into being, and that's how I did it. So I was, like I told you, I was completely into sales, and the salesman in me came out, and I started reaching out to people in LinkedIn like crazy. I used to exhaust my connection requests on a weekly basis, and I used to get a lot of hate for it also, because LinkedIn is a very, very dirty place. But having said that, I met a very few, rather a lot of good motivated people, someone who wanted to give me a chance, someone who wanted to use my skills, use my enthusiasm, motivation to see what I could build. So that led me to go into Tata Consumer Products. I did a bit of performance marketing over there, which is essentially digital marketing. I did a bit of campaign management, brand management over there. Again, nothing very in depth, but bridging the gap between classroom and real world on how brands are actually built and what money it gets you. So that was something that I had done. Similarly, then Nykaa came, then Britannia came, then MBA got over. So I mean, that was the entire journey cycle, if you have to put it that way.
That's really interesting, actually. Your first full time role after MBA was a role at Pidilite, which involved deep on ground experience across regions, across rural and urban markets. So, what are some things that you learned during your stint? And since we have a lot of folks coming joining FMCG brands like Pidilite, Asian Paints, Zydus, etc. So, what are your 2 cents on that?
The first impression that I had was, I am coming from a bloody brand and I'm going to be unstoppable in the market, was completely destroyed. I was made to go from outlet to sell Fevicol. So I was in the Fevicol, which happens to be the mother brand of Pidilite, the woodworking adhesive category. And I was given, I think I did not have anybody to shadow with me at that point. I had to figure out a lot of stuff on my own. Went outlet to outlet, learned how to build relations with the shopkeeper, with the dealer, we used to call them dealers. Understand how markets function, what is their grievances, how solving one grievances results in outcomes. So creating a playbook of sorts that essentially helped me capture market share. So I think I was there for about 6 months in Lucknow, where I was doing a very detailed sales stint. Lucknow happened to be one of the worst performing markets for Pidilite in general. We had about 47% market share, and that market was very high contributing. So moving from outlet to outlet is very humbling. It's a very humbling experience, if I tell you that. If somebody has never done it before, you're in for a very good experience of your life. I think I had my best time when I was doing that stint. I'll tell you the reasons also why I had the best time. Is A, I get to see business happening right in front of me. I get to manage, coming from a little more education and a little more, the ability to create insights, something which not all salesmen will be able to do. What we as B school grads were able to do was create insights on what's happening between multiple stakeholders on ground. Okay. So whenever you talk about sales, there is not one stakeholder. There are multiple stakeholders. There are multiple categories of consumers, right? There would be one end customer, but there are a lot of intermediaries which come in between, 100%. And everybody has some or the other grievance which contributes to, say, a given result. So say if I solve X% of a dealer grievance, I might get Y% of outcome. So that is that playbook which really helped me create it, and I think they're using it all over in Lucknow. It's one of the bigger markets that they've been able to get hold of. So yeah, that was it, and I was there in 6 months for Lucknow. Then I went to rural stints. I went to Balaghat, I went to Chennai, I went to Bangalore, I went to Hyderabad. I was in a lot of smaller towns. I was looking after North Karnataka again. So very small markets, Bidar, Bijapur, Raichur. I don't think anybody would have heard of those towns also. But again, very shitty all markets. Nothing is fixed over there. Went into the system, understood what are the grievances, built relationships, understood their point of view for business, and created value for them. Right? At the end of the day, why is somebody opening a shop, right? They could all be in corporate. Everybody wants to make money.
Yes.
And if we understand that in their language, in their way, and making it more intuitive for us rather than they telling us directly, it makes all the difference in the world, right? Suddenly coming, and if just let me give a very simple anecdote to quote an example. If somebody comes and opens a door for you, you feel very good, right? You feel privileged, you feel it's like a luxury. So similarly, you open the door for that guy, he will give you the order. He's 100% going to give you the order. He's not going to go anywhere, right? Having said that, it was easier for me because I was from a brand, because I saw other competitors struggling in the market like anything. So that's the kind of pull that a brand creates. It enables sales, right? So those two go hand in hand, obviously. So yes, that was my journey in Pidilite. Rather brief, but a very enriching, a very enhancing experience, very impactful experience, if I have to put it to you in words.
Like a quick follow-up on your management stint at Pidilite, you said that you worked across different regions, like
Yes.
let's say Lucknow and then south of India. So what is the change in mindset of different stakeholders? Let's say a distributor or a super stockist are also stakeholders in Pidilite's distribution model. So what are the, let's say, a different mindset changes across demographics in India, if there are any?
See, essentially everybody wants to make money. So that mindset remains constant. But there is a little more leeway in terms of trust in the northern part of the country. In the southern part, I find it to be a little more transactional. I mean, that's a personal experience that I had, and I was not really there for as much time to understand what is the history behind what is going on between those three, four people. But what I could make out was in the north side of India, if you build a relation, if these two, three people have an understanding, business thrives. So from a mindset point of view, the north side of India goes at level extra to make a relationship for business. And the south side of India is more transactional, obviously because the markets are more disciplined, payments happen on time, there is a lot more happening in the market, there's a lot more there's a lot more width to try out new things in the market. So what I mean by that is any new launch that happens is always happening in a Bangalore or a Chennai or a Hyderabad or maybe a Kerala to some extent. But you see northern markets being very rigid to change. So that's where the behavior also comes in.
Interesting. So now let's move on to the interesting part. The move from Pidilite to Blinkit is a big shift from structured FMCG to a high functioning startup. Like, what is the roadmap that you followed? How did you inculcate the changes, and how did you inculcate the learnings that you learned from Pidilite in Blinkit?
Okay. So I decide. Let me give you a more chronological answer to this rather than just spitting out facts to you. I always like challenges. I mean, I always chose markets where I knew that if I go there, I will make some impact coming out of there, and which happened in both my stints. Secondly, if I have to look at why I wanted to move out of there, was I had already stabilized the market. I said that this will grow for the next 2-3 years, and I said I'm ready for the next challenge. But unfortunately, what happened was there was nothing else that Pidilite could offer to me at that point in time. So what I did was I started looking at what is the next biggest thing in the market coming out right now. So I had a couple of interests. I always saw these smaller markets which I just talked to you about, Bijapur, Bidar, Raichur, Hospet, all very, very small towns, but very high intent on consumption. Very, very high intent on consumption. How I tell you that is, in a busy square in Hospet, which happens to be in North Karnataka, small town, nothing much. You run 10 kilometers and the town gets over. It's that small. There are 25 Kirana outlets just in that town, and there are 2 Reliance Smart Bazaars. So that really led me to ponder upon a point that if Reliance or say a local Kirana outlet has the foresight to think about how consumption is going to evolve in India, why not make a bet on something which has merit, which has shown results, which may not be profitable, but at the same time gives you a lot of room to experiment on how to invoke the changes in customer behavior. So that is what led me to perhaps move to a digital space, look at how quick commerce operates, because I was obviously in the commerce space. I had done a lot of general trade. I knew how business functions. So I wanted to explore quick commerce. And in fact, I was in between places when the entire thing was happening. I went to the Swiggy office in Hyderabad because Hyderabad used to be very close to my markets. I would go there, I would spend some time, I would understand how business works. I made an informed decision, understanding how their business works. And then one fine day, I got a call from my friend in Zomato saying that, hey Sachet, why don't you come to office, let's chill. I said, okay, let's go ahead and let's go chill. I went, he introduced me to his manager, very, very young chap. He asked me what do I do, where do I come from, and all these questions. He started interviewing me. And that's why I'm scared of impromptu sessions, because you never know when it becomes an interview. So he started interviewing me. He said that, okay, let's do something. We have something very, very, very interesting in mind over here, building a very interesting category. Why don't you come on board? And I said, okay, fine, let's take that jump, because I think I wanted to move to a place where I wanted to be more experimentative on what I was doing. I wanted to have to see immediate impact of what I was doing, not wait for about 3 months, which maybe is a drawback in general trade a little bit. You plug in something for 3 months and then you see impact of it coming out. But in the digital space, rather the e-commerce, quick commerce industry, I plug in something immediately as I get the result in the next 2 hours. So I know where is course correction, I know where exactly am I going for. So that was the entire story of how Blinkit happened. Coming to your point of structured and unstructured, I'll be very honest with you, Pidilite also was very unstructured for me, because I went into a market which was basically, if I have to put it to a Mahabharata Yuga. If I have to put it into perspective, Mahabharata is a very, very interesting analogy that I use, because in Mahabharata, to get to the outcome, so Bhagwan Krishna bent the rules to get the result. But say in a very structured space, you don't really bend the rules to get the results. So I really thrive in that space where I can bend the rules a little bit, ethically, obviously, but get to the result. So that is where I found out that the structure was never there for me at that point in time, because I was in a market which was relatively new. I was bending the rules like anything. If somebody wanted a grievance, done. You have a grievance sorted. I was bending the rules and I said, I enjoy this, I thrive on this, I get to see impact immediately. So for me, that Blinkit, the structured question that you asked me, did not really matter that much. But yes, the pace of how things work at Pidilite versus a Blinkit, or maybe an ITC versus a Blinkit, or maybe any other FMCG organization that has been for say 10, 20, 30 odd years, definitely you feel the pace, you feel the urge to get things done faster, because the customer doesn't wait. 10-minute delivery is the biggest impulse in the entire industry, and the customer will not wait. If you don't have assortment, he will go to the next platform. If you don't have delivery, he will go to the next platform. If you don't have the proper means or the proper assortment pending in the dark store, he will move on to the next platform. So that's the thing, you have to always make sure that things are not breaking, things are properly moving, and that's how it is. So I mean, I kind of enjoyed doing that. It's a very, very challenging aspect to take of it. So yeah, that was the entire idea.
That's crazy. And impulse, as you rightly said,
Yes.
impulse buying and instant gratification are the next big thing. Like people are literally buying iPhones and PS5s off Blinkit.
Yes.
And so yeah. So from someone from the outside, what exactly does a program manager at Blinkit do on a very daily basis or a weekly basis, let's say?
Okay. So first of all, let me break some more bubbles. Mid-managerial roles after moving out of MBA are all execution oriented. We are not making strategy. I mean, we do make some strategy, but most of it is execution dependent. We have a central goal. Like I said, bending the rules is something that I have to do in Blinkit. Getting work done is my top priority. So I handle a category called printing as a service. Get your printouts in 10 minutes, owning it completely at this point in time.
We really used that during our
I'm glad.
SIPs.
Anybody has any complaints, please tell me. So
Blinkit also works printing services at 4 a.m. I've literally printed
I know.
things at 4 a.m. Yeah, so that's
thank God it did not get cancelled. So I look after the printing as a service category. A day in my life essentially looks at replenishment, making sure that there is enough inventory in my dark stores to ensure that I can supply X number of more days of order. Right, so I have a proper projection model where I go ahead, I check it up every day to see what is breaking, what is not breaking. Second part of what I look at is growth and marketing. So new user growth, old user growth, repeat user growth, lapsed user growth. So somebody coming new to the platform contributes more revenue. Repeat users are my core. I need to keep catering to them again and again. Lapsed users is where I can actually get some more repeat users onto the platform, and that's how I look at it. I build those data sets, I build those numbers. I look at it from a very, very number oriented point of view. I check what is breaking again, and then have a clearer understanding of what action plan should be taken. And third is a little bit of CRM, what I do. Push notifications, SMSs, WhatsApps, which exact merchant, which exact user ID, formulating a plan on a daily basis. When a new store comes up, which user am I going to target? What is the exact specification of the user that I'm going to solve? Because when I'm talking about a digital space, I'm talking about a sniper. It needs to be that I need to capture the need of the user at that exact moment to have a conversion. 100%. If I don't have that, then it's as good as floating an ad on the television. So that's where digital comes in and really shows that impact in conversion. So that is how a day in my life looks like. It's more or less about Excel sheets and numbers only. Sorry to disappoint everyone. Everybody has to go back to Excel sheets. But yes, I think it's something that gives you a lot of perspective on how users are thinking, what is their need, and what's the next thing forward.
That's an eventful day to look forward to. And also, you just touched upon execution. So, Blinkit recently launched Sachet Rao, and they usually launch a lot of things that currently are happening. Like they follow pop culture, they follow the trends. So, how fast is the execution, and how fast? What goes behind the planning when something like this is going to be launched?
So we have a content team that only looks at Instagram, and that's where their their motivation comes from. So see, being relevant is very important in the market, and being socially relevant is even more important in the market, right? Because when I'm connecting to a consumer, I would want to connect on something that is relevant. Why would I want to collect? मैं उसको क्यों बोलूँ कि आके तू संतरे ले ले Blinkit से? So क्या फ़ायदा? वो तो वहाँ सामने वाला भी बेच रहा है, right? The point is that I need to be relevant. So if I say that Merry Christmas, you want vodka plus orange juice, so I plug in a use case over there, right? So that is how Blinkit really brings in that kick into the marketing, saying that I will plug in use cases. I will not just tell you that this is what is available at my platform, that the Kirana wala also has, that even modern trade has, that even if Ambani pumps in money tomorrow, we can do it. That he can float up bigger ads on television, capture everything in the space, and he can capture all Bandra billboards over here, and then he can say that मेरे पास तो सब कुछ है. So what makes it relevant is that it brings a smile to your face. You remember Blinkit for its quirkiness and also the assortment, saying that it's a Blinkit pay you get everything. So that is etched into your mind. So that is the relevance of having that in the moment marketing, which what a lot of people are trying to come into that bandwagon now, and it's very successful. There was a very big campaign, if I remember, दूध मांगो दूध देंगे, खीर मांगो खीर देंगे. So that essentially highlighted the USP of what Blinkit had, or what Zomato and Blinkit together could do. So that is what it is. I mean, if you have to stay relevant, you have to be in the moment, because everything is fleeting. Now if I say, for example, the Women's World Cup that India recently won, so we had a very big campaign around that on cricket bats and toys, and that was very relevant.
Yeah.
So we saw a spike in sales in those products also. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone wants to make money, right?
Yeah.
So whatever is relevant, we sell that.
During the T20 World Cup also, everyone was buying Adidas, the T-shirts to support India while they're watching the matches. And also moving to the back end of things, let's say, so how does Blinkit, or let's say as a matter of fact, any quick commerce platform decide where to put a dark store, and what, if there is any recce, I'm sure there's recce that goes behind deciding a dark store. So
this is a mathematics question. Okay, so I'll tell you how Blinkit does it. Blinkit has the advantage of Zomato. So we have a concept called Z not B. Somebody who's transacting on Zomato in that polygon, but is not on Blinkit. So if we have a particular threshold, then we know that this is, or whatever covers that particular polygon within 10 minutes period. Think of it like a circle. The dark store is a center point, and radius is whatever comes into the 10-minute delivery framework. So basically it's a mathematics problem. So you check if there is demand, and then you plug in a dark store over there. Or if you check the number of Kirana outlets in that particular area, check their footfall. If it's good, plug in a dark store over there. And that's how it essentially works. I mean, there's a lot of other code. There are millions of lines of code that go into it. I mean, I'm just telling you from a business point of view how things work out. But at the end of the day, Blinkit is a tech company, and they rely on technology to give them that insights and information on which is the best location to plug in a dark store. See, obviously, now if I tell you that I say that 3 blocks away is the best location to plug a dark store, but I have to pay 1 lakh rupees per month in rent, does not make sense.
Fair.
Right? So those other factors also start coming into consideration, and then you have an understanding of, yes, this is the best location that I have to plug in a dark store.
So also the path to profitability and all the other things, you also must look at it. Also, I just wanted to also take a look from a brand POV. Like, let's say I'm a brand that I want to get onboarded on Blinkit. So what are the steps that you usually follow, and how can I get the best outcomes as in terms of on quick commerce platforms?
Okay, so it's a very interesting question that you asked over here. Again, so quick commerce is a marketplace, and to be successful on a marketplace, you need to realize if the customer is actually there on that marketplace or not, right? Now, if I tell you that there's a very famous Bangalore brand called Mysore Sandal, if you would have heard about it. Mysore sandal, if you go down south towards Bangalore, North Karnataka, all the entire belt of Karnataka still rules over there. And you will never find it on Blinkit.
It rules in my house, so I'm a South Indian, so
okay, so then you would know exactly what it is. But if you look at Blinkit, it does not sell on Blinkit. The relevant customer is not there on the platform for me to actually go ahead and plug in that product and tell him that this is available, you buy it. The product to marketplace fit does not exist in that particular category in this example, right? So that is it. If a particular platform, if a particular brand wants to thrive, first thing, where is the target market? Every brand should have a very, very specific target market, because you can get lost in, there are a multitude of targets nowadays. You pick up a target which is most suited to get converted. The moment they see your offering, the moment they see your brand, be it at any marketplace, they should look at it and they should feel that this is the right fit for me, even though if it's outbound or inbound, that does not matter. Secondly, coming to your question, if a brand really wants to succeed on, say, a quick commerce platform, does that category really fall into a 10-minute solve? So, say I want a broom. मेरे को झाड़ू खरीदना है घर के लिए. That's a 10-minute solve. Now, brand like Gala, who does झाड़ू, it's a very famous brand in Delhi, Gurgaon, would be very successful on Blinkit. झाड़ू खराब हो गया, अभी मंगा देते हैं. So that's the thing. A brand like Eggos is very successful on quick commerce, because you don't want to go outside. You don't want to carry that eggs with that stress of which egg will break. Yes. So a brand like Eggos would be very successful on Blinkit. But a brand like Sony, who has PS5s, it's great. We do some orders on Blinkit. But if you compare it with, say, Munchies, or you compare it with brooms or fruits and vegetables or other categories, it's a very niche category to have on the platform. Does it mean it's succeeding? Does it mean it's not succeeding? Depends on the metrics of, again, whom am I targeting? Am I targeting an impulse purchase customer who I really want to get onto the platform to onboard through that particular category? Or am I looking at just staying relevant through being present on the quick commerce platform? So that is about it. I mean, at the end of the day, even if, say, I open a brand tomorrow which is not relevant for the people coming on Blinkit, but very relevant to somebody who is, say, driving down from office every day looking at a billboard, they will find my brand and they will come on it, right? So they may find it through either my website, they may find it through, say, any general trade or modern trade, assuming it's a consumable product. I'm just talking about all services over here. But essentially that is how the entire ecosystem works for brands. I mean, if I may be harsh on a few brands, everybody just wants to come into quick commerce to be relevant and to be seen. It gives you visibility for sure. But is it the right visibility? Then that's the question we should be asking, right? If we are all marketers, and do we really want to list our product on this particular platform? Will it give us some value? Is a general trade a better option? Modern trade a better option? A website a better option? D2C a better option? There are so many channels nowadays. You list on Amazon, you have to pay hardly 5 or 10 rupees, but you're still listed, right? It is just about where the consumer is.
Fair, but let's say, I'm just thinking out loud that let's say a brand is on Blinkit and it's not something that usually people buy off Blinkit, but just because they have the visibility, people can tend to buy it online. So
absolutely,
it'll be useful for them to be on Blinkit.
Absolutely.
So that's also the visibility that matters.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely, it does matter. See, when you talk about a conversion for any brand, you never know where it's coming from, unless and until you have direct means to track it. So somebody coming on your website, that's a direct consumer for you. But somebody coming in from an ad, you don't have any means to track that. So yes, visibility is good, but is all visibility good visibility? That's something that maybe we can have a very long debate on, and there would be multiple conclusions to that.
So I just wanted to ask that how important is, let's say, small things in dark store, let's say the positioning of the product, or let's say the optimization of the workers in the dark store, and how does Blinkit optimize and minimize delivery time in that?
So what can be controlled in the store is my picking time, and how my picking time is defined is how well is my assortment mapped into the store. So if I know that I get orders for Munchies, I keep it right in front of me so that the picking for that item is as low as possible. The quicker I pick items, the quicker I'm able to build them, and the quicker we are able to go ahead and dispatch the product. Where the question comes in of maximizing output and minimizing delivery time also happens to be last mile, because last mile is a very, very big problem that all quick commerce giants are trying to solve. Having said that, the number of riders are limited, loyalty is no longer existent, and essentially a rider can ride for Blinkit Instamart, Zepto, Flipkart minutes, all at the same time and get maximum incentive from all of these. So I think that is where the next bigger thing in the ecosystem is going to come in for bringing that delivery from say a 10-minute to a 7-minute or a 6-minute delivery. Because on an average, what Blinkit does is it arranges its assortment in such a way that picking time is minimized. So if I'm say having fruits and vegetables as a category, which is highest selling for Blinkit or any other quick commerce for that matter, it's right in front. So anybody who gets an order, they have a handheld device. Anybody has the handheld device, gets the order, goes to the section where it is kept, scans a crate, picks up the item, puts it in a basket, and they're good to go. So it's as quick as it gets, and that's how Blinkit operates.
And how does, let's say, a delivery partner play in the situation, because they are also a very crucial part in delivering, in minimizing the delivery time. So how is Blinkit planning to also not secure them and not them being poached by other brands?
It's the same way as saying that I want to keep the best talent with me. It's a tough problem to solve. I would not say it's absolutely a cakewalk or something that can be done with a few incentives or a few variables. Incentives die out. There is a limit after which you will not be able to burn more money. That's a big problem. But having said that, creating value for delivery partners through Blinkit through other means. So I think Blinkit has recently started something called a rider insurance, where every rider is insured end to end. Right? I think one of their features of the policy is having having the family member also insured through that particular policy. So those are some things which Blinkit does take into consideration, providing you jackets when it gets very, very cold in the northern parts of India. It goes down to single digit temperatures, and then Blinkit does those small things which really count for riders. So building loyalty is not say a 6-month or a 1-year job. It takes time. I think it is going to take at least a year and a half before where we see actual the ecosystem and how it is being shaped and how it goes forward. So I think that's one of the bigger problems to solve. I think it's in very capable hands and they're looking
Interesting. Also, now we see that a lot of players like JioMart, T-Mart Ready are also entering the market. Money is being pumped into in the industry, and recently Blinkit CEO said that quick commerce is a bubble that will be bursting very soon. So how is Blinkit moving? And Blinkit also operates on a very extremely cost sensitive market on, let's say, thin margins. So how is Blinkit moving towards sustainable profits in the coming future?
Profit sustainability comes from a couple of things. The first one is not burning money on new user acquisition. So the first thing that Blinkit is currently doing and is expecting a lot of return is acquiring new users. The digital marketing spends are very, very high at this point in Blinkit. The goal of the organization is to acquire more users, get them hooked onto 10 minutes, and then reap the benefits out of it. So think of it as a mutual fund. You invest in it for 3-4 years, and then you get amazing returns. Like you're a very aggressive mutual fund, you're burning your hands, you're burning your money, you're burning every investment that you make. But at the same time, I'm acquiring new users who then come and see what Blinkit has to offer. And then they get hooked onto the 10-minute offering that Blinkit really thrives on. So that's how it is. Secondly, coming to a point of sustaining the profits, once a user is hooked onto Blinkit, they don't really look at delivery costs. We see a metric called the time to checkout. So essentially, time to checkout is 30 seconds. So seldom is when Blinkit actually the user rather looks at whatever is added into, he or she have added into their cart, have actually questioned on what the delivery fees are, whether it is a 10 rupee or a 20 rupee or a 30 rupee delivery. Customers are willing to pay it because they're getting their items done in 10 minutes. They're saving out on their time. It's a very big value proposition in somewhere where time is equivalent to money in an ecosystem today. So I think that's how Blinkit is planning to hook onto its customers and keep them, transacting again and again for posterity, hopefully.
That's actually a very nice way to look at it. So as an MBA student, if someone wants to enter the startup ecosystem or let's say quick commerce, so what skills should they develop or what roadmap should they follow to enter a company like Blinkit or any other competitors?
See, the first thing that I would always recommend everybody is to be curious. Figure out how things work, even if it is the smallest thing, even if it interests you. You should always figure out how this is working. What are they doing? Ask yourself that question. Keep that fire of curiosity burning alive, and that's half the problem solved. Secondly, I think which is very important in today's time is first principle thinking of problem solving. I don't really need you to know SQL, or nobody really needs you to know Python or Java. I mean, obviously at some level you would have to know that. But if you have the tenacity to go ahead and solve a problem, no matter what it takes, I think that's the perfect recipe for anybody to go ahead and work in an organization, albeit it Blinkit or a Pidilite or an ITC. Everybody is looking to solve problems. Every organization has problems. If you are committed to problem solving, and that's one of the bigger skills that often gets hidden in a lot of resumes, to show that this person actually has the capability or the attitude to solve problems. Because solving problems starts very easy. If you've seen a sinusoidal graph, you're at a high when you get into the problem, and then it starts going low to a negative, and then again you start solutioning it. So it's a lot of hidden trial which works for any solution for that matter. You just have to have the courage to keep going, and I think our founder Albi is one of the biggest testaments to it. He was bankrupt in I think 2017 or 18, but then Blinkit came up, and he changed it. He solved a problem. He did not see it as a problem. He saw an opportunity and he created a problem and solved it. So that's about it. I mean, solve problems, being curious, upskill yourself, learn about how things work, see where the industry is headed to, align your interests, and everything falls into place.
That sums up. That's a really good advice for the upcoming folks. And on that note, thank you, Sachet, for giving us your time, and we have discovered a very new side of Blinkit and how it operates, and it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise. Cool. Thank you.